Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mr. Clockwork Apple. I've always held the belief that the two greatest settings for fiction are fantasy worlds and the future. Perhaps this is because of the freedom that it gives to the author. Because it doesn't take place in our world, anything written becomes a reality for the world the story takes place in. I bring up the freedom of the future setting because it just so happens to be the main theme of today's review. Futuristic Violence and Fancy Suits by David Wongs. The story revolves around Zoe Ash, a 22-year-old who finds out that her estranged father, Arthur Livingston, has died. However, it turns out he wasn't quite the worthless bum she thought he was. He's a multi-billionaire, or rather, was a multi-billionaire, I should say. And it seems he's left behind a vault, and no one knows what's in the vault, but they do know how to open it. You see, the lock is programmed to only open to Zoe's brainwaves, meaning whoever brings her in alive gets the vault's contents. This brings Zoe to the city of Tabula Rasa. And yes, that is a dollar symbol, not an S. The city is a lawless neon utopia for the rich, where money and bounty hunters basically rule the roost. But the most important thing about this city is everything's hooked up to Blink. You see, in the future, everyone wears these little tiny cameras that record their daily lives and upload them to a social network. And this has given rise to a world of internet celebrities, especially given the lawlessness of Tabula Rasa, where people can record and watch whatever they want. And this leads to several factions within the city. Most want to kidnap Zoe to unlock the vault, or they want to get paid by others who want the vault themselves. There's some who want to save Zoe and be heroes for fame of glory, and there's a final group who don't care about the vault or the money, but just want to do unspeakable things to Zoe on camera. And I'm going to leave it at unspeakable because I don't want to say it. Really, it's not suitable for broadcast, what they want to do to Zoe in this book. I think I'll say live cannibalism is perhaps the least concerning thing that they have planned for her. And I'll just leave it at that. There's also the suits. Arthur Livingston's personal guard, and the guys who are named on the cover. Kind of. It's their suits are named on the cover, and they're named after the suits. I don't know if that counts. Are they titular, or I don't know. They want to open the vault as well, but only to find out what their old boss put in it. And mostly they want to keep Zoe safe from everyone else. And the suits really stand out as characters in this book, because unlike everyone else, they mostly avoid violence. They prefer to use negotiation tactics. And a lot of characters in the book actually consider this method worse than the guns or knives that they could be using. No one wants to get talked at by these guys, because they're worried about what's going to happen to them. And lastly, there's our main villain, Molech, who is very, very spoilery. So I'll just say that this guy's hilarious. I love every second he's on the pages. He's a great character. And I can't say anything else about him, I'm afraid, because otherwise it will completely spoil the book. So, as you can probably guess, this story is very, very character-driven. And it has some of the funniest dialogue I've ever read. Especially when Zoe's trying to deal with the ridiculously over-the-top bad guys, or the terrifyingly business-like suits. And she's just this ordinary person who's caught up in all the middle of it. It makes a really good back and forth between two extremes, as it were, with her being caught right in the middle. Characters aside, the futuristic setting means that technology is everywhere in the book, from hologram phones and self-driving cars to cybernetic implants. And the technology is so rooted into the world that what seems amazing to the reader is completely and utterly mundane to the characters. When they mention the self-driving car, all our main character Zoe thinks about it is that people of the past must have had it difficult because they wouldn't have been able to eat chili whilst driving. And I love when fiction does this. It's something so amazing to us, the reader, but to people in the book, it's just everyday life. It means nothing to them. Do I have any complaints about the book, though? A few here and there. I would say. The beginning of the book is one massive info dump. They basically throw so much at you. It's easy to get a little lost on your first read. I think your second read, once you know what everything's about, should be a little easier for you, as I'd say. but at first, it can get a bit heavy on all the information. Also, sometimes there's a few pop culture references, either to stuff that actually happens in our world, or things that have happened exclusively in this world. And they come across a bit jarring, and they kind of stand out and break the flow a little. Also, one last thing, I wouldn't have minded a few less references to the main character's backside. There's so many butt jokes in this that, yeah, they're funny, but there's just too many of them. I can't cope with it. It ruins the flow in a way, because I'm thinking, oh look, there's another butt joke. Overall, Futuristic Violence and Fancy Suits is a solid read, especially for sci-fi or comedy fans. The characters are enjoyable, and the story should keep you hooked until the end. I also hear that there's a TV adaptation in the works, which is made by the same people as the House of Cards series, which I've heard is good but haven't personally watched, so it should be pretty good, I'm hoping. I hope they really put some effort into this one, make it better than the John Dies at the End movie, which was okay, but it did not follow the book very much. So, in the 1 in a billion chance that anyone working on this series happens to watch this video, please make it like the book. I want to enjoy this, please. Anyway, if you join me next time, I'll be awkwardly stammering my way through Devil Survivor Overclocked, a game on the 3DS that makes me feel emotions and dread from playing it. I will see you then. Goodbye.